Hello and welcome to the Pantsless Podcast. We're back and we're all here. We have Gradigi, Northern Savant, I'm Tomalo, and we got Porn Stash Trevor.
Hello.
He's back. Trevor's back, and he looks like he's actually straight from the '60s, being an actual porn producer. That is literally the and also featuring lawnmower.
Featuring lawnmower as well.
Yes.
I
I
went
think
on what are those things called when you go on a walkabout? And I changed.
soul searching.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh,
So
no.
a walkabout.
Yeah.
Yeah. Have you
I
have you
think what
found
makes
your
it a
soul?
porn stash is just that little bit that like goes down around the
Yeah,
side.
yeah,
That's what makes
yeah.
it the porn
Yeah,
stash.
that's what makes it a porn stash. I mean,
I
if,
like it.
if you go out on the street and actually tell somebody that I produce porn, everybody's gonna be like, yeah, I believe that. That seems reasonable.
I assume you must have a black leather couch somewhere in your house, right?
somewhere around here.
It's
I wish I
probably-
could grow like half the beard that you guys can, because this is the best I can do.
The Fred
I don't
Durst
have the
soul
best
patch.
genes.
Fred Durst. Man,
It's okay, North. It's okay. Anyway, guys,
Yeah.
welcome to another episode of the Pantsless Podcast. We are still in the year 2020. Some people might refer this to the worst year ever. I refuse to believe that because I don't want to experience the Stone Ages. Fuck that shit. I choose this over that. But we have a bunch of this show is too packed. We got too much stuff. So we can't cover everything. I'm afraid that this will be kind of a rushed episode because we have so much stuff. But I'll try my best to keep it cohesive and focused. I am physically exhausted. Like legitimately. So much shit has happened in the past, not even 2 weeks. It's like week and a half. We've had a bunch of game shows. Instead of E3, a lot of things have been on Twitch and YouTube and Mixer when Mixer was still alive. RIP. We're gonna talk about that. Don't worry. But there's been like hundreds of game trailers released, and we're not gonna even scratch the surface. Most, like 95% of those games are indie games, so I literally don't want to sit through and pick the best ones. I kind of promised the dudes that I would do that, but then I played Last of Us 2. Priorities. So we're gonna talk about like not E3. We're also going to talk about the sweeping sexual allegations that are happening on Twitch right now. I don't want that to be a deep dive. I just want to acknowledge the fact that it's happening, because at the end of the day, we're not lawyers, and we are not the subject of being accused of anything, nor are we the ones that are accusing anyone. But I think it's important to still acknowledge that it's happening. We're also going to talk about Mixer and why it doesn't exist anymore, or soon. And we're going to close the show with Joe is gonna talk a little bit about Kingdom Hearts 3, and we're gonna close the show with Last of Us 2. I will talk about that last because also for the people who don't want to hear absolutely anything can dip out at that point. But I will keep it spoiler free as much as possible. Like obviously I need to talk some stuff about it, but it will be a spoiler-free discussion.
Sounds good.
Was that everything? Can we now start? Can we start the show?
I think that's everything.
All right. Yeah. Thanks for watching, everyone.
Let's get this started.
All right. So I don't even know how to title this. So the sexual allegations that are happening on Twitch right now let's call it sweeping sexual allegations on Twitch. Boom. That is super long and probably filled with typos, but the English speakers will probably correct me. So what has happened? A shitload of women have come forward, and they have told their own versions of what has happened in the Twitch sphere, in the YouTube sphere, in the gaming sphere. And a lot of big content creators are accused of either inappropriate sexual engagement, inappropriate touching, there's sexual harassment, and there's sexual assault and outright rape allegations, and also grooming of underage girls, which in my books is pedophilia. But I am not a lawyer. Let me pull up this thing here. So, like I said, I don't really want this to be a deep dive because it's still kind of. I do believe in a set of in the saying where it's innocent until proven guilty. I will name drop some people. I'm sorry about that. Among the bigger people that have been accused is among others like Pro Syndicate, Angry Joe. Witwix was accused. He did like an hour and a half long stream where he rebutted every accusation. JP from the Dropped Frames podcast has been accused. FaZe Banks has been accused. And a very notable one that probably no one knows was the CEO of a company called OP Group. OP Group is basically like a management company for streamers. They, among other people that were signed to OP Group, was Co-Carnage, Dodger, Kitboga, Sacriel, Towley, Cobblestreak, Gazi Mexican, Diction, Strippin, Bikeman, Elohim, Penta, Dan Giesling, Burke Black, and some other people I don't know. They've all resigned. And they resigned because the CEO of OP Group was accused of sexual harassment, which he did not deny. So he stepped down as CEO. And not every single streamer from OP Group quit, but a huge majority of them quit. I support any woman who comes forward with sexual allegations against anyone, regardless of who they are. I understand that there's a lot of nasty things happening, but I do also recognize that there's two sides to every coin. And not every allegation is truthful. Henry G, who is a popular analyst and caster for Counter-Strike, Pro Counter-Strike, was also accused of outright raping his ex-girlfriend. And he posted a very lengthy Google Doc document showing that he did nothing wrong. And in the landscape of internet justice, Henry G was acquitted of all charges. But I think it's nasty that there's this many women coming forward talking about a lot of different content creators, and I don't believe that every single content creator is innocent. Some of them have said that yes, they have done things in the past that they regret and they're not proud of. But it's a shitty situation, I think.
Yeah, I think it's important to remember not to get, in these situations, not to get mixed up in the mob mentality one way or the other. Like you said, there's two sides to every coin, and unfortunately, in these type of cases, 99% of the time, it is just one person's word against another. So, and I'm always really happy. I'm glad whenever not happy. I'm happy that whenever some people start to come out, it encourages other people to come out, because there's who knows how many people that are too afraid that they'll just be shot down. But on the other hand, you also still have to remember that during any kind of situation where people are on board in mass, there's going to be somebody taking advantage of that. So that's, you just have to remember not to get whipped up in mob justice. You know, if things are going to play out correctly, then they should. You know, there will be things that have happened that will put people in the guilty party, you know, in their place, hopefully. And I know that that's not always the case, but you just have to remember not to swing one way or the other until you get some information, because there's so many people that immediately believe those claims, and they absolutely should be supportive, whether or not the claims are true. Whenever they first come out, you should be supportive of that woman until you get some information. You shouldn't automatically dismiss them, but you shouldn't automatically just believe everything they've said. Be supportive, hear them out, and the same thing from the other people. You know, from the people who are being accused, you have to hear them out as well. But there's just so some people don't even think it exists. I think it super does. Cancel culture is toxic. So people like to use those mobs to just get that cancel culture ball a moving. So unfortunately, every person that does that makes the legitimate victims that much less believable. And it sucks that there probably are people in this group that are taking advantage of that, of the basically the internet wanting to do good, more or less. They're taking advantage of the well wishes of the internet, and it sucks.
I haven't really been paying attention to any of this because I've just been working and not paying attention to anything at all other than work. But so I did see that a lot of people came out and like what Tom said, and went like brought up a bunch of accusations against a lot of people. Was it just like one person was like, hey, this person did something, and then another person like, oh well, she came out, so I'm gonna come out? Or was it like a coordinated thing with 30 people to all accuse people at one time? Because the way you're explaining it sounds like it was just like coordinated thing that happened.
It began with one accusation, and I can't find this initial Reddit thread has been edited, and it used to have. Oh no, here it is. It seems like it all started in the Destiny game community with allegations against Say No to Rage. And yeah, that now I remember. It was one of the Destiny 2 community. Her name is Snaps. She's a partnered streamer, and she posted a very lengthy, very lengthy. Jesus, I even read this and I didn't remember it was this big. Oh yeah, it's because it's been updated. That's why. She started it, and after that, the snowball just kind of started rolling.
Okay.
And more people were coming forward with their own experiences from a lot of people. And definitely what Joe said, don't jump on the mob mentality. We saw it instantly when Angry Joe got accused of sexually harassing a woman. And he pushed back immediately, saying that those things never happened. And later that accuser walked back on her words and said that, okay, maybe I exaggerated a little bit. And I think it obviously, because we've not been there, we've not seen the situations, we don't know those people. But what a lot of other bigger content creators have also voiced, I think Jericho, he hit, I think, an important note where he said that there's definitely sexual harassment happening in the Twitch communities, especially in gaming community, like conventions and parties or whatever, because they put a bunch of people who are, their main thing is to stream games. That's their life. They're necessarily not the most social people. They are necessarily not the people that go out very much, and they're put in a situation where they are already like very huge, and they are surrounded by people who are their fans, and then they are served an unlimited like amount of alcohol. And the point here is to not make excuses for when wrongful things happen. But I understand that if you're 20 years old and you don't know jack shit about anything, and you go to some party where you are instantly recognized and you're instantly validated by everyone there, it goes to your head. And I recognize that when it goes to your head, some bad things can and will happen.
Yep.
Not every person is the same way, though.
Yep.
Just the only thing I can say anytime this stuff like this happens is you can be sympathetic without being radical.
Yes.
You can show sympathy towards the victim before anything's decided without hating the accused immediately. So
Yes. This has also now sparked a today is, well, it's Thursday for North and me, but Wednesday for all of you beautiful Americans. This is the day when this has been like named Twitch blackout, and the point is to not stream this day, to force Twitch to make changes. There's a lot of anger because Twitch posted a statement. I might find it. Yeah, it's right there. This is what the statement says. We take accusations of sexual harassment and misconduct extremely seriously. We are actively looking into the accounts concerning streamers affiliated with Twitch and will work with law enforcement where applicable. We're thankful for the bravery shown by those who have come forward to speak about their experiences, and we are committed to working to make the streaming community safer for everyone. I think the key thing here to know is that they say that they're working with the law enforcement, the rightful authority to hand out justice towards wrongdoers. But the anger is that a lot of people feel that there's enough evidence against a few like selected content creators that a lot of people feel that they should be automatically banned. A lot of people feel like the statement Twitch made is just empty words, because no one has been banned yet. Even the people who admit that they did something wrong. And look, I don't work for Twitch. I don't know how Twitch works. I think this site is run like shit. There is 16 different set of rules for 16 different groups of people, and I have no idea what flies and doesn't fly. And Twitch is notoriously bad when it comes to communication with its user base. And frankly, me as an affiliate, I'm so low on the totem pole that they don't give a shit about me. But they do give a shit about the people who are on top, because those are the people who are making money for this site. That's why Alinity is not banned. That's why none of the streamers who have been multiple times banned for sexual behavior on stream are not banned. That's why a lot of male streamers who are toxic as fuck are not banned, because they bring in money.
Yeah, Twitch definitely needs to up their game to make their platform safe for everyone. I think that's important.
Yeah, they have a lot of an unfortunate amount of double standards just for people that bring in money. It's very unfortunate.
It is, but in some way I understand it. It's one of these. Oh no. That it's the main reason why I think Twitch should go fucking full on, like all out. Just allow porn on the site. Like there would be no problems after that. Mark your stream adult only, and be naked on stream if you want to. Why not take that step? Why have these flimsy rules for women, especially like what they can and can't wear? Like, no, you can't wear a swimsuit, but if you're on the beach, you can wear a swimsuit. If you buy the pool, it's like kind of 50-50 if you can do that. And like, I can be shirtless on stream. It's not a problem. Because I don't have tits. I mean, I have man tits because I'm fat as fuck, but, you know.
Okay,
But-
I thought they actually banned men now for showing nipple.
I think if you, there was that one guy that like spun the wheel and was making fun of the girls that did that, and he got banned, and he wasn't wearing a shirt. But I don't know
Oh.
how.
Yeah, I thought I saw some stories where I don't know if it was one guy or a few people
Yeah.
or whatever, but men got banned for showing nipple.
I have no idea.
It's I mean the double standards is just insane on all of that too. Like you
Yeah.
said, you can, like, if a woman were to wear a bathing suit like in the pool, she's fine. But if she wore a bra and panties, that probably would cover more than the bathing suit. She would get banned.
Yeah.
She can also only wear little nipple tassels if she's painting her body.
Yeah. Body painting is allowed on Twitch, but you have to cover the nipples.
Duly noted.
Yeah, I think they should just be like, just make it more free and open. Like you say, get rid of half the rules that they have that are just I don't even know why they're there, honestly. So
Yeah, I mean, and look, I know why they don't allow porn on the site, because sex is bad, and can't do that.
And I think it's kind of wrong to have like a platform where you have all the ages and then have like a section that is like porn. It's like having, I don't know, BBC news sites, and there would be like a section explicitly for porn. That would be weird.
You can still make it happen.
You can't.
I mean, I think we read what's. I wasn't there reading the thing, but I think Sully read the TOS for Chatterbait, and it's like way less loose than Twitch's TOS. I mean, obviously, because everyone can be just naked on Chatterbait, so there's no rules on what you can and can't do, like, basically. But yeah, I mean, to circle back, it is unfortunate that women face a lot of sexual mistreatment everywhere. I despise any man who takes advantage of women. And I fully support women in their fight against that injustice. Stop being fucking creepy. You fucking pigs. Look at me being feminist. Is this feminism? Or am I being woke? I was talking with Trevor today. I don't even know what woke means.
Well, you played The Last of Us 2, so you're probably pretty woke now.
Yeah, I'm pretty. Yeah. I'm a feminist, wokey, and some we can find the labels for me later in this episode, but I'm all of that, and I hate men, of course.
Apparently, it says here that there's no situation in which nudity is allowed on Twitch. Cleavage is unrestricted as long as these coverage requirements are met. There's one exception to this rule. Breastfeeding is allowed on Twitch streams.
Mm-hmm.
And then it says men are allowed to show their nipples. So, no, wait. This is actually a good thing to bring up. It says those who present as men are allowed to show their nipples live on camera.
Isn't that like riddled with loopholes?
Yeah, sure is. Because it's the I watched a video where a conservative woman, Tommy Lahren, I'm sure some of you guys have heard of her.
Fuck her.
Like,
fuck that bitch.
well, yeah,
She's a cunt.
Okay, well, never mind then.
Go ahead.
No, dude, I'm done.
No, go ahead.
What she was just showing how easy it was to change your gender, like in the state of New York or whatever, wherever she was, I can't remember. So, like, legally, that means that she could just go and show her boobs because
So basically,
she's legally
if
made.
I would get like breast implants, I could show my nipples. If
As
I
long as you still
identify as a male.
As long as
Yeah.
you, from according to that, yeah, as long as you're still identified as a dude.
I
I'll
guess you
sign right
could
up.
I'm
guess you
sorry
could
for my
be,
outburst.
just you technically could be born as a woman and do absolutely nothing to transition your body to a man's and just say I'm a man now, and then I guess show nipple because you're
I
presenting.
mean, I would
yourself
want to see
as a
like what
man.
would happen.
I guess I don't know.
Yeah,
I'll say the final thing about Tommy Lahren. I think she says a lot of
I
things.
don't think you should say anything about her. That's not what we're talking about. Let's go. I was just using that as an example. Don't.
Gravity
Done.
has a crush.
No, it's not. She's not what we're talking about. She's not important. Don't go off on that tangent, please, Tom.
I don't want to. I don't want to do that. I don't want to do it. I do wish that every woman comes forward with truthful allegations against any sexual predator. And if the accusations are truthful, involve the law enforcement if you can. And seek, I don't know, I guess legal redemption if it's possible.
Yeah, definitely. Everyone deserves a safe place here on Twitch and on esports and wherever you go.
Do dick pics count as harassment? I would say yes. If it's unsolicited, then yes.
Yeah, for sure.
Depends on how big it is.
Oh, okay. Well, then I'm okay.
Yeah. If it's threatening, then yes.
What if
Okay,
it's just like a drawing of a dick? Is it then sexual harassment?
I'm pretty sure if I slip a note to my coworker with like a dick on it, I would be really fast in some sort of meeting with HR and my boss.
Well, if
Yeah.
you draw a little happy face on it, then it's not,
Not
big deal.
threatening.
It's not threatening.
Okay. I don't understand dick pics. I honestly that entire thing has never. I've never been in a position where I understood why anyone would do it. Now, if it's between two consensual adults, then go ahead. Show pictures of your genitals to each other. I would necessarily not want to do that because it creates a situation where the other party has leverage over me. And I don't believe in eternal love. I believe that every relationship comes to an end at some point. And unfortunately, a lot of relationships turn sour. And then people are mad at each other.
Some relationships start with dick pics.
I wonder how many.
I bet they do, yeah. I bet they do.
Don't send dick pics
Don't do that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
don't.
Yeah, don't.
unless they ask for it.
I'd
Even
still
then,
not do it.
that's-
Yeah, I'd still not do it.
Send picture of your pets, I guess.
There you go.
That's a better idea.
That's just fine.
Yeah.
Let's move on. So we can stop talking about overly negative things. We're gonna say this is not E3. And E3 did not happen this year. obviously because of the COVID situation. Instead, we've had dozens of presentations. And honestly, like I said in the beginning, it's like 90% of them are indie games. So I'm not going to really focus on those. The most notable one that happened was the PS5 event, where hats off to Sony for one, not lying like Microsoft did, and for showing games, which was cool. Need to pull it up on here. I want to show one trailer. At least one trailer.
Mm-hmm.
Where the fuck is it? There it is. Mute that. There we go. I'll give you guys the link too. Whoops, that's no. There we go. And we do that, and we have to unmute the site. And I'm gonna click it on in 3, 2, 1, go. I'm so excited for this game.
Long ago, a young girl went with her mother to pick berries for her father, who was
Super
ill.
quiet.
I don't think anything's
But
happening
the
yet.
forest greeted them with a dark, cold silence. The bushes empty. Yet determined to find the berries, the rascal broke free of Mother's grasp and vanished into the trees. Mother's worried cries faded fast as the girl ran on, over vine, under branch, and into the forest deep.
They did a pretty good job at
What is
concealing
that creepy
what
story?
this was.
It's just a local tale.
Yeah.
You're really into that stuff?
I didn't realize until the title screen.
Quit being
Yeah,
so
me neither.
paranoid.
No, friendly, friendly.
Even when the
Who are you? Who sent you?
numbers popped up, I was still like, what? And then it was like, oh.
They're coming. Who is?
That old man got ganked.
It's gonna be so cool.
I actually thought it was going to end up being Silent Hill up until the
Chris?
title screen, only because they had
Sorry.
like a lot of religious imagery, and in the past, Silent Hill has been more about that than Resident Evil.
Why?
So
Yeah, I was gonna say, do you think after watching the trailer that it may stray too far away from being a Resident Evil game, or does that matter, or do you care? Because it looks almost to me like it's more like a like what were those brothers that did all the fairy
Brother
tales?
Grimm.
Yeah, it looks like a Brothers Grimm game to me, like a horror fairy folklore tale than it does Resident Evil.
I don't know. I think they like I've said like before this was announced or anything. I wanted them to keep it horror. They did say that they're gonna have it a bit more action focused, which makes me a little bit worried. I fear that they're gonna itch it more towards what like RE4 was, and then 5 and 6, rather than keep it going where 7 went. But I don't know. I'll play it though. I'm
The
excited
real
for it.
question is,
Hmm.
did they come up with the name before or after they realized VIII was 8? Were they looking at the Roman numeral and be like, "Oh, it'll be a village"?
So
I always wonder that.
I want to believe that in some boardroom meeting or marketing meeting they were like, "Yo, we could totally do this," and then they just decided to name it Village after that.
They hired some graphic designer off Fiverr. They're like, you got a V and a few lines. Make a word out of this.
That's too funny.
I do hope that they keep it horror. Like, I don't mind if there's action in it. I mean, there's action in 7 also too, and so they can have action, but I want a horror experience.
Yeah,
basically.
Yeah, I'm not sold for this. For me, it doesn't look like it's a new game that's supposed to be released 2021. I think it's supposed to look better, maybe, and it definitely feels like that it's more like the story is like the main point on this, and I don't like werewolves, so
I mean,
I would rather have the zombies. Can we bring back zombies, please?
no, but if you don't like werewolves, then you don't like werewolves, I guess. I'm fine with the werewolf thing, mainly because and I know every Resident Evil does not have zombies, but no Resident Evil has werewolves. And if they look, I'll eat up anything. If they just decide that Umbrella made werewolves, I'll be like, okay, I'll believe that.
Like the scene where the dude was like walking in the winter forest. It looked like one of those indie games Trevor picked up from the itch.io. It looked like that. To me, it looked like that.
Damn, dude.
It doesn't look good.
I have to look at that scene again. I don't remember exactly what scene you're talking about.
Yeah, there was a lot of good. I think there was a lot of good games overall. I don't think there was anything phenomenal. But I think that for the PS5, I think they're gonna start off pretty good. A lot of that looked good.
A new Gran Turismo was announced, Gran Turismo 7, which is pretty, I'd say it's standard for Sony to release a Gran Turismo when a new console comes out. A new Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart was announced, which actually looks pretty cool.
Demon Souls.
Yeah, Demon Souls is gonna get a remake.
Yeah,
and that's pretty hype. It probably a lot of people are gonna play that. And
I
they
never
also
played the original, so that might be one I look at.
Yeah, and I think even Souls players kind of agree that Demon Souls is probably not really worth it. It's really, really clunky, and it hasn't aged that well.
Mm-hmm.
They also announced the sequel to Horizon Zero Dawn, which is Horizon Forbidden West. And I mean, probably came as no surprise to anyone. Guerrilla Games has been silent ever since the release of Horizon Zero One. So this was a logical kind of, step forward, especially when they ended the first game in a cliffhanger. Those douchebags. Please, game developers, please. I know you want to make sequels. I know that, but please, can you stop ending games in cliffhangers, because it's really excruciating to wait like 10 years for the continuation. It really is.
Yeah.
Like
At least make like a DLC or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
even that.
That actually sounds bad now that I think about it. Like having to pay for the ending.
Oh,
Well,
yeah,
you're
well-
doing it anyway.
Yeah, if
Movies
you-
are already like really bad at not knowing if they're going to make it to be able to make a sequel or not. And games are even worse. Like you don't know unless it's like Grand Theft Auto, that's always going to say, but like all these, independent kind of games or single story games like that, they don't know if they're going to be able to make another one at all. So you're just ending on a cliffhanger, never know what's going to happen to that development company if they're going to go bankrupt or what.
Yeah. I feel like if you're a good storyteller, you can leave the suspense of a cliffhanger while also giving like a solid resolution. Like I don't think anything should be made with the thought process that it's going to be good, so there's going to be another, and then you'll get more. Like, what if it's not good? And now you've basically blue balled a million people. But of course, if it's not good, I guess no one will care. So
True too.
I just find it annoying, like I truly do, because I mean, on some level, I can understand movies when Disney announces that there's gonna be a new Star Wars trilogy. I know that there's gonna be a new Star Wars trilogy, no matter how shitty the movies are. And I mean, I do enjoy the movies. I think we dropped Grady.
Up.
And kind of looks like that. There we go.
Nope.
Welcome back.
Up. Welcome back.
yeah, pretty sure my router's starting to go belly up, so I already ordered a new one.
Okay. Even though the Star Wars movies got like massive hate from like the fan base, I ended up enjoying those movies. I do recognize the flaws though. They're not like 0 out of 10 movies. Just like Last of Us 2 is not a 0 out of 10 game.
How dare you?
I'm just woke. But yeah, honestly, like there's just a lot of trailers being shown. I watched in the span of 3 days. I watched some 6 shows, and I was physically exhausted, and I literally don't remember what I saw. I wishlisted a bunch of games on Steam though, mostly indie titles. But the PS5 is gonna come out later this year. Microsoft is gonna have another, for realsies this time, press conference in June, I think. July? It's June now, right?
Yep.
Yeah, so it's July.
For another week.
Yeah. And hopefully Microsoft is gonna announce some real stuff during their next Inside Xbox, I guess, or whatever. And maybe talk about the console a little bit. But the consoles are coming out, and I think the release window of games is probably not gonna be. I don't wanna say that the Sony press conference was bad in any way, but I don't see a whole lot of games that you can buy with the console on release.
Fortnite.
Not that.
Everyone, don't worry. Fortnite is coming.
And
Exclusive
GTA
skins.
5. You just get it for free with the console.
Yeah.
Yeah. Somebody's
It's
gonna be
hilarious.
like, really?
Yeah.
Is it gonna be free?
That
Are you
burned-
I don't know if this was something that we were going to talk about or not. Were we going to talk about the digital only version of the PS5 compared to
No,
the
but
disc?
but yeah, let's hands up. Who's gonna buy the digital only version?
If I buy one, I will buy the digital.
Same.
I know Joe collects stuff, so he wants the discs probably.
Yeah.
But yeah, I
Do you think, Joe, since you're the only one that really cares about the disc and stuff, do you think it's going to start the downfall of just physical copies?
I think that's already happened. I think that was whenever I bought and I understand it's for PC, so it's a little bit different. But whenever I bought the collector's edition for Doom Eternal, and I opened up the case. There was just a disc-shaped piece of cardboard with the key on it. So I got, because it's the collector's edition, it comes with a steel book. So I got the regular case that had a disc-shaped piece of cardboard in it. I got the steel book, and I have no disc to put in either one of them. So yeah, I think that's only going to push more towards that direction. But yeah, it's definitely a big sign of it. The fact that they're selling one, but I guess did the Xbox One have a digital only or something like that?
I don't know. They haven't officially really talked about the console yet. I'm assuming since Sony's doing it, they probably will too. I mean, why not?
Yeah.
Do you think? Do you think if the decline of physical copies goes even lower, do you think that we'll see a world where they specifically market special editions with discs?
I think eventually, absolutely. Like I don't think it'll be anytime soon, but eventually they definitely will be. I mean, there's been collector's editions and Kickstarter stuff where, like, trying to think if there's any of them that I backed. Like, I know I backed Mighty Number 9.
Oof.
And no, Shovel Knight. Shovel Knight was the one I got it for. I actually have a physical box for Shovel Knight, even though I got a digital copy. So I think
you got the box. Does it have a physical copy in the box?
No, it's just a box.
Oh.
Yeah.
What if for the digital version they just sell you a box with cover art on it?
I mean, that's basically like you can go to GameStop and buy just like a card that is a CD key. You know, you can buy just like codes for games at GameStop if you want to. So I could definitely see them selling, like, have a $10 markup on one that's got exclusive collector's edition art with your key. I could definitely see that being a thing.
You're assuming that GameStop will survive, though.
Well, it's out there now, and they are doing that right now. So, yeah, like right now, you can just, if you wanted to buy a game, you can actually just go and buy like a CD key on a piece of cardboard from GameStop.
Obviously on full price and everything. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
Of course. Or is it more expensive rather?
I don't think so. I don't buy games from GameStop, so.
Yeah, I mean, who does? Yeah. Sorry, GameStop.
Yeah.
Guess you didn't innovate.
Every once in a while, they're the only place I can get a collector's edition, so I'm forced to. But even then, I mean, I buy maybe 1 or 2 collector's edition a year if I'm lucky. So.
I have an account with GameStop, and I haven't used it in, I don't know, 6 years maybe. And they never sent me an email because I just never used it. And then, like, suddenly, like, these past like 3 months, I get 2 emails a day from them every day, and they're just like, "Hey, we're on sale. Things are on sale, everyone. Buy one game, get 3 free. Just come to our store."
I mean, they're asking for a lifeline, specifically from you, Trevor.
Not getting it.
They know you've got that good porn money.
Yeah.
Trying to get in on that.
But yeah, we are. I think now that we're in the transitional period of generations in gaming, we're gonna see kind of a downshift in big releases. And obviously, like, because it takes fucking 6 to 10 years to develop a AAA game these days, and a lot of companies put out games like this year and last year, it probably will be a long time until we see another, like, Grand Theft Auto, or even like anything from Naughty Dog, or even the Spider-Man game that was announced, Miles Morales, yeah. It was confusing when they said that it's kind of a standalone DLC type deal, then it wasn't, and then it was like a full-fledged game, and then it wasn't. Like the Sony reps and Insomniac people, they contradicted each other, and I still to this day I don't know what kind of game it is. But I mean, it's more Spider-Man, and people really like that game, so I think they would probably buy it. But it's definitely like, I think I don't know how big Insomniac is these days. Spider-Man came out last year, right?
Year before, I think it came out the same year as God of War.
Oh yeah.
That is correct, yes. And now they're gearing up on to release Ratchet and Clank, and that is a long, that's a short development cycle. If it's the same team building Spider-Man and the Ratchet and Clank game, so I'm assuming they have two internal teams.
Yeah.
Probably. I mean, but then again, Insomniac is probably not one of those companies that they spend that insane amount of work that Naughty Dog does or Rockstar does.
Speaking of Rockstar, I'm pretty sure the only reason you're getting GTA 5 with the PS5 is because they want to get closer to being the number one selling game of all time. Because even though it's packaged with the console, that still counts as a sale for GTA 5. That's why Wii Sports is like the 4th best-selling game of all time, because it was packaged with every Wii, and the Wii is like one of the best-selling consoles ever. And that's also why like Mario and Duck Hunt are so high, because they were with the NES. Dude, I'm telling you, you can't convince me otherwise. It's a scam to get GTA 5 to number 1.
But how can you compete with a game like Fortnite? You can just go and download it. I think that basically counts as a bot game in a way.
They've already beat Tetris or Fortnite though. Right now they're trying to beat Tetris and Minecraft.
Really?
They're above Tetris right now.
Really?
I'm looking. It says Tetris has 100
million.
Yeah. And Grand Theft Auto has 130 million.
Yeah,
And Minecraft has 200 million.
All they got to do is sell 100 million PS5s.
I mean, they can't do that, right?
It's basically, well, GTA 5 is a money printing machine.
It's still, we're talking about like that I think was the most awkward way to start the PS5 event in the first place. You're supposed to showcase new games for your upcoming console, and they start off by showing a game that came out on the PS3, which was a little bit odd, honestly.
Yeah.
But yeah, those who buy a PS5 get Grand Theft Auto 5.
Yeah.
I guess it's a good deal.
Enjoy your 10-year-old game.
Well, they already gave it away to PC gamers, so next logical step.
Yeah. If you do already have it on the PS4, though, you get $1 million a month until the PS5 comes out.
Yep.
So.
Yeah. Because people didn't hack that game at all, you know.
Yeah. I have $4 billion, I think $4.3 billion because I got hacked and then got my account back.
Oh yeah.
So, just got all the money I could ever need.
Do you think Rockstar put that money in there?
It's possible. I started playing it more after I had $4.3 billion.
See,
it was level 400 something.
That's the sneaky tactic right there.
They have Tetris split up into 2 categories on here. So it's like Tetris for mobile has sold 100 million, but Tetris for Nintendo has sold 43 million. So it's.
But what about all the other versions of Tetris on all the other consoles?
Well, it's not on the list.
So I'm pretty sure Tetris exists on virtually every system.
I'd say to some degree, yeah, it probably does. Tetris probably does have a version on every console.
I don't think you can beat Tetris anymore. It's too far gone.
Yeah, people still enjoy Tetris. I mean, how do you beat a game that's got 30 years on you and people still like it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's something to be said about the simplicity of Tetris, and that certain thing it like ticks in people's brains when it is simple enough. The premise is simple, but it's still a difficult game to like truly master. And I think that's what drives people, because anyone can pick Tetris up and play Tetris.
I can't. Okay.
Well,
Look at it.
I guess you're not developed enough, Trevor. I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, honestly, to wrap up, not E3. This was an exhausting experience. I never want to do this again.
Yeah.
I want E3 instead of this shit. I mean, because there were too many shows and too many trailers, too many games. Because I don't remember. I can count all the games with my 10 fingers that I remember. It's too
What's
much.
the number one game you were looking forward to out of all the games you saw?
Resident Evil 8.
Well, other than that, because we already went over that.
Was it Elden Ring on it?
No.
No.
Did you even watch anything?
I did. I did see that live when it happened. And I remember you saying the Viking thing that this is Elden Ring. This is Elden Ring.
Yeah.
And it wasn't Elden Ring.
that was Dark Souls.
Yeah.
Demon
Or-
Souls.
Demon Souls.
Did you ever even watch the thing?
Here's a better a game that's not super mainstream that you would say you should pique your interest.
Okay. I can actually answer that. Let me look at my wish list.
There was one, I can't remember the name of it. It was Paladin something. Panzer Paladin. I thought that game looked really cool. It was on Day of the Devs. It's like a 16-bit indie game where you fight in like a mech suit, and every enemy has a weapon, and after you kill them, they drop their weapon, and you can just pick it up and start using it. And you can like pop out of the mech suit. It almost reminded me of Blaster Master. If you've ever played any of those, I thought that looked really cool. I actually am really interested in playing that.
It's like Kirby if Kirby was a mech.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and I love Kirby. That's like one of my favorite. The first Kirby was actually the first game I ever beat. So Panther Paladin looks sick.
I'm looking forward to this game called Ghost Runner. It's been on my wish list for a long time. It was once again like shown. Another game that was interesting is this game called Call of the Sea, which is this I guess like 1930s inspired adventure game set in like in the South Pacific. It's supposed to have like mystery and exploration and adventure and stuff. And I mean that's a genre that I feel is like not explored too much outside the Uncharted games. I'm down. And I don't know, like there was another game called Fate Tactics. I have followed the developer on Twitter for a longer time. Fate Tactics is probably going to be a game that for anyone who plays and loves Final Fantasy Tactics is basically Final Fantasy Tactics, but not Final Fantasy. And it looks pretty good. Next year, I hope we're gonna have a real E3, but I don't know if COVID is gonna go away.
Probably not.
Probably not yet. Not a doctor, but probably not.
What about you, Trevor? Did you see anything that
I didn't really watch any of it. I was too busy doing other things. So I watched like half of one show. I don't even know what it was that I watched, honestly. And I can't remember what the hell was on there.
What about you, North?
Probably Demon Souls. I never played the original, but definitely piques my interest.
Yeah, I have played the original, and it is super clunky and way hard because of that. I can't even beat the first boss. It is just like it's it's a whole other beast that's not even enjoyably difficult. It's just difficult. Hopefully that's not the case in the remake, because the graphics look. I mean, it looks totally different. It's hard to believe that it's the same game because of how much grittier and realistic some of the stuff has been. I'm super looking forward to Demon Souls as well.
And it'll probably sell really well, I believe. I mean, the Dark Souls like hype train has not gone anywhere. People really bought into Sekiro, even though the Demon Souls remake is not developed by From Software. It's still made by a developer who is very prominent in the remake, like kind of sphere. They made the Shadow Colossus remake, which was really well received. They've made some other remakes too that have not been like terrible.
Yeah, so I've got hopes.
If they come out with a Shadow of the Colossus 2 on the PS5, that'll be my number one game pick.
Yeah, I don't know if there's any motivation for the dev to do that. I don't even know who owns the rights to Shadow of the Colossus at this point.
Yeah, I don't
know. But okay. Joe's gonna talk a little bit about Kingdom Hearts.
Yeah, I finally got to actually sink some time into it. It's actually, like, now that I've actually started getting some time into it, it's a lot funner than whenever I first started. Although I think my complaints are still the same that they were whenever I had just played a couple hours of it. In that it doesn't have any Final Fantasy characters in it. they just decided that story was over. And because of that, they have like less side stuff to lean on. So it's super duper Disney. Like I beat the Tangled World the other night, and the Tangled World is just the movie. Like, it just plays out exactly like the movie. Like, the dude, she thinks that the dude leaves him and he's actually tied to a boat and knocked out and stuff, and then the guy gets stabbed and they're trying to heal him with her hair and he cuts it off. It's exactly like nothing changes. The fact that Sora and the Heartless are involved, it just doesn't. It was exactly the same as the movie. But other than that, I think as I play into other worlds that have already been in the Kingdom Hearts series or been referenced at some point, I'm hoping that there will be like more unique story to it. But so far, I am starting to enjoy it more now that I've gotten some more time in it. But I've gotten 10 or 12 hours into it now. It's just not so far. It's just not enough Kingdom Hearts, and it's too much Disney. Which I love Disney cartoons. I still watch like the new Disney cartoons eventually after they come out on DVD and stuff, because I don't want to be the weird, creepy, bearded dude in the theater in the back watching a Disney movie. But yeah, it's fun, and they've done a pretty good job of incorporating elements from everything into it, like all the other games, without making it seem too overwhelming. But I don't feel like you can feasibly do all the little things in that game and it not feel tedious. But other than that, like, that's really my only complaint, is that there's just, the Disney worlds are just too much Disney in some cases, and there's just a lot of little minutia that you could get lost in that I'm not into.
So they didn't even like substitute Final Fantasy characters with like anyone else, Marvel characters?
No, unfortunately not. I think a lot of people were hoping for that, but no. I think at this point they have enough original characters from the series that I think they were hoping that they would be able to carry the story forward without the Final Fantasy characters, since the original characters are basically Final Fantasy characters in their design. But I don't think they took into account like the Final Fantasy's involvement was what a lot of people liked. like so many of the actual like compelling storylines, the side storylines in the first two Kingdom Hearts were attached to Final Fantasy characters. And then you remove like that element. Well, now we're just going from Disney World to Disney World, saving the princess that's in trouble.
Yeah, that's like you said, that's one of the things with the first two Kingdom Hearts that really like intrigued me, was the fact that it was this mix of Disney and all these other characters that you're like, oh, well, this is unique. I guess these cross platform or cross I wouldn't say platform, but you know what I mean. And I know that they probably had the game probably almost finished before they even like acquired Marvel and Star Wars and all that shit. So, but it would have been great to see if they did get rid of the Final Fantasy, that they put in something else to kind of make up for it. And I think that probably would have helped out a lot. But
yeah,
Can you give me some examples? Like, how are the worlds connected? Like Final Fantasy and Kingdom Hearts.
So in the Disney worlds, like Final Fantasy characters just randomly live there. Like they're not Final Fantasy characters; they're just characters that exist in this universe. And a lot of them almost are like freedom fighters. Like in the first game, your main connection to like Merlin, who teaches you all your magic and teaches you a bunch of stuff, is because you meet like Tifa and them in one of the first towns. So like they are like fighting the Heartless and actively working against Ansem with you, where the Disney portion of it, aside from like Mickey, Donald, and Goofy, they're just kind of there. Like you go to the Disney worlds and fight the Heartless, and the Disney is just kind of a setting where the Final Fantasy characters really are what kind of drove the plot forward a lot in the first two games. And so you just don't have that now. You don't have like that unique, like the thing that mixes everything up. Like if there was Final Fantasy characters involved in the Tangled world, it probably wouldn't have played out exactly as the movie, but it did because there wasn't any foreign like influence from outside. Because Sora in the story, Sora, Donald, and Goofy they kind of have like the Star Trek prerogative. Like you're not supposed to interfere with the natural order of that planet. So they go to Tangled and everything plays out exactly the same because that's what their aim is. They want everything to be like they aren't there.
Yeah.
So there's not a Final Fantasy character to give us that branching path. So we just watch a movie with Sora in it.
Could you imagine, like, I don't know who the main villain is in the third game. I haven't played it, but I'm just going to use Ansem but could you imagine, like, you go to fight Ansem at the final boss, and then fucking Darth Vader and the Hulk bust through a wall and just start beating his ass.
I would buy that game.
Maybe that's why they're like, these people are too powerful. They can't be in this universe.
Yeah, maybe. The Hulk can rip planets in half. Maybe he doesn't need to be in Kingdom Hearts.
It's still, I feel like Kingdom Hearts is so known for having that Final Fantasy connection to it, and to release the third game with no Final Fantasy characters in it, I feel like, and I get what you say that they have so many of the original, or their Kingdom Hearts original characters that can serve that purpose, but it's like initially the series was known for being the mix-up between Disney and Square, and I feel like they've abandoned that identity. And I mean, obviously I think the first game probably is the least confusing, and once they started to delve into the handhelds in the second game, and I mean the plot is all over the place, and it's one of the most confusing storylines of any video game series ever. And I think that they put themselves in a situation where they probably can't put Final Fantasy characters in there anymore, because then it would be too much.
Yeah, I think that's totally 100% what it is. Does anyone care if I say minor spoilers about Kingdom Hearts 3?
I don't mind.
So, and I don't even know, because they don't really explain it. I'm assuming I need to go play Dream Drop Distance to understand it. But it turns out whenever you kill a member of Organization 13, there's something that and they just become human again. So like now you have some members of Organization 13 that are bad guys, but then you also have like some of them that became human, like Axel and a few others that are now on your side. And I think they did that so that they wouldn't have to use Final Fantasy characters, so they could still have like that Square presence on your side without using Final Fantasy characters. And normally I would say that's so they don't have to play copyrights, but they're their characters, so I don't really know why they made that decision. Like Go ahead.
I was gonna say, I think like that's one of like a pretty big downfall for them not to put Final Fantasy characters in there, just because you got to think like people are diehard about Final Fantasy and they grow to love these characters through these games they played and everything. And when they see them in that game, they not only know them from that game, they know them from the original Final Fantasy game that they were from, and they can, they have more emotion invested into those characters and stuff. And when it comes to the, like you said, like Axel and the Organization 13, like no one really gives a shit about them, so they're like replacing these characters that people grew up to love with these new characters that no one gives a shit about. Yeah. And, no one, like, that was just a stupid idea.
And I think it wouldn't have been as stupid if there wasn't a 15-year gap. I think it's 15 between 2 and 3. So, like, if you decided not to play any of the handheld games, which is totally understandable, not everyone likes handheld games, but unfortunately, that's where the bulk of, like, those little details are, like why whenever an organization member dies, they become human again. So I don't know that. I've played all but 3 games, and I feel like that's a huge plot point, and I don't know it.
What's the Final Fantasy characters in, like, all the in-between games? The 300, one of those?
Yeah, I don't think they ever put any Final Fantasy characters in the side games. They were only, and that's why I was really surprised that they didn't have them in the third game, because they were in 1 and 2, and I thought that maybe that's like what they were going to do, is just save those for the main plot, but that wasn't the case. But I think it wouldn't be as bad. I think people would have cared more if not for the fact that a kid that was born during Final Fantasy II was learning to drive during Final Fantasy III. Like, if not for an entire teenager happening between 2 and 3, people may have cared about those characters, but it's such a long gap. I mean, if you only have exposure to a series of characters in one game, and then you don't have anything new to compel you to care about those characters for 15 years, you're not going to care. But like you said, everybody plays Final Fantasy games, or the people that play Final Fantasy games love those characters, and they're already attached to them because they've had 50, 60, 70 hours to grow attached to those characters. Where in Kingdom Hearts 2, you didn't see them that much. So if you didn't play like 358 over 2 days, which is a game exclusively about Organization 13, you're not going to give a shit.
Yeah, I remember. I remember when I played 2 the first time. The way they present the Organization 13, I felt really fucking confused about that too. There's a bunch of hooded figures, and then they dump a bunch of names, and then, like, how am I supposed to remember these people? Especially if they're on screen for like 2 seconds. Obviously they're important, but how am I supposed to care about these supposed villains?
Yeah.
And then I ended up not caring about them.
Yeah. I didn't play all the way through Chain of Memories, but that's where you're actually introduced to Organization 13. And I played through 2 before I really delved into any information on Chain of Memories. And they say that there's 13 members of the organization, but by the time you get to them in 2, there's only like 4 of them left because you killed the other 9 in Chain of Memories. And it doesn't say that because between Chain of Memories and Kingdom Hearts 2, Sora lost his memory. So he doesn't even know that he killed him. And it's
That's
so yeah.
convenient.
Yeah. So you're like, okay, there's these 13 members of the organization. Why am I only seeing 4 to 5 of them? What where's the other guys?
And I can
So-
understand, like, I can truly understand why they made the Sora Amnesia thing, because they probably assumed a lot of people haven't played the handheld, and they're jumping to the second game from the first game, and they can't have Sora remembering an entire handheld game where like actual plot happens, because if the player doesn't know about it, then you can't play the game really at that point. So
Yeah.
Sora ends up not remembering anything.
But in short, I think that's why the side characters are so bland in Kingdom Hearts 3. And I wish that they were just Vivi and Cloud and Setzer and all those guys. They were cool.
So shall we move on?
Yes.
Sure.
Trevor, I'm sorry.
Running out of time.
Specifically for you, I'm sorry.
Why?
Because Mixer is dead.
I never left Twitch. I've been here the whole time.
The whole time.
The whole time, yeah.
You got less than a month to transfer all your viewer base from Mixer to Twitch.
I did that.
Have
Good to go now.
you guys watched anyone that moved over yet, by the way?
No.
Have they moved over yet?
Yeah, some people
I
have.
watched someone today that moved over, yeah.
A lot of people went ahead and just did the switch, or they're trying to figure out. I actually had a talk with some people that are on Mixer, and they were like, "Yeah, I just don't want to move to Twitch. I may move to Caffeine or some other." I don't know what he said. He said there's some like gaming streaming service that he's like that you can get nude on. And he's like, I might just go to that. And I was like, oh.
I think I can't remember what the name, but I remember because that's where a lot of people that were banned on Twitch end up. There's this one streaming site that I cannot remember the name of, but I know which
Periscope?
one you're talking about. Which one?
Oh, was it?
Periscope?
Periscope?
Say it one
I
more
don't
time.
I don't think that's what he said, but I really don't remember. But I was
Yeah.
like, oh well.
There's apparently that website is like where a lot of the people who were banned from Twitch for being too toxic end up. So I wish I could remember the name of it.
Yeah, I wonder where Poseidon, is that his name? Ice Poseidon? Where he's gonna
Poseidon.
go? Because he's banned from Twitch, I believe, and
He'll
Mixer
just go
shutting
back.
down.
Let's just go back to YouTube.
Yeah, they can do YouTube Live. I actually was showing Tom this. It's a chart. I can't remember who it's from. I sent him the link where it's from, but they were showing that Facebook gaming and YouTube actually had way more viewership than Mixer did. Like Mixer's top viewership was like 40 million, and like Facebook gaming was like 250 million.
Holy crap!
And then like
Wow.
Twitch is like 1.4 billion or something.
That's the I put it up on the
Oh
stream.
yeah.
I didn't even know Facebook gaming was a thing. How are 250 million people watching it?
See,
I
I
don't
don't
know.
even want to
Stand up
believe
there.
that number. I
I
don't
don't
want to
either.
believe it. Yeah. That's what I said to
I don't-
Trevor too.
I don't believe 300 million people that play games are on
I can-
Facebook.
I can believe it just because it's 250. It's by hour, so 295 hours were watched.
Hmm.
And Mixer had 41 million hours watched. But I can believe. I mean, everyone has a Facebook. Not everyone has a Twitch account or a Mixer account.
But I
Yeah.
don't know. I mean, yeah. I guess it's still weird.
Yeah.
So I mean, honestly, I don't know if it's technically the worst thing to happen to the people, but who knows?
So for those who still don't know what we're talking about, Microsoft announced that Mixer is going to shut down, and they're going to partner up with Facebook, and they are offering to partners of Mixer a way to jump over to Facebook with a similar kind of deal that they have with Mixer. But they have not spoken about the people like Trevor, who's not partnered, for instance. And Ninja and Shroud reportedly both declined to move to Facebook, and Microsoft bought them out. Reportedly, Ninja got $30 million and Shroud got $10 million. So, I mean, if anything comes out of this, at least there's two winners.
The reason I asked if you guys had watched anyone that moved over yet, I watched an artist today, and I guess he had just moved over here like yesterday, and he got so much support both today and yesterday that he was brought to tears. Like,
oh, yeah, I saw a clip of that.
I'm curious how many people are like that guy that are coming over here and just like, if he's brought to tears on like his first day from the amount of support, like what was he getting on Mixer? I wonder if he just came over here and exploded, and like, is he instantly regretting that he chose Mixer over Twitch? I want to pick someone's brain that's going through that situation.
I would assume that he probably got the same amount of viewers, or slightly a little bit more, or even slightly a little bit less. But it was just more than what he was expecting to happen, and that obviously can make you emotional, I guess.
Absolutely.
But I don't know what I was gonna say. But yeah, I think that, and I also I know what I was gonna say. I wonder how many people that are viewing the people that have moved from Mixer to Twitch are going to continue watching them, or if they're just jumping on this bandwagon of I'm part of the group to support the Mixer transition.
It'll probably die.
Yeah,
just like any.
I did see a lot of
does.
Mixer users cry as well. But they were on Mixer crying.
Oh damn! Damn, son, too real.
Yeah, like you could go to the Mixer's front page and like just go through, and like people were just crying. Like all the top streamers were just crying.
I do feel bad for like the Mixer people, because it like I think everyone got the same notice at the same time Mixer's shutting down. Like the streamers and us idiots not on Mixer.
I think they notified everyone just through one
tweet.
Twitter. Yeah, tweet.
I did see that they did mention in the tweet that partners have gotten like an email. But I can only assume that that's happened like at the same time.
Probably.
And I mean, it's not like the site went offline instantly. They still like have a month to do whatever. But yeah, I don't know. I think a better way would have been to internally kind of tell Mixer streamers that this is going to happen, and then publicly announce to everyone that they're gonna shut down the site. But a lot of people seem to. I don't really like people doing this. There's a lot of people cheering that Mixer is dying. I think that's a little bit bad sportsmanship at this point. I even saw people saying that when I was in one Discord where I expressed how I feel bad for the streamers because ultimately they're losing the most here. And one dude replied to me, said that, well, they shouldn't have chosen Mixer in the first place. I'm like, really? Like, are you gonna blame the people for using a product? Like, it's not their fault. It's literally not their fault. It's more my fault because I didn't use the site. But like, blaming people who believe in the product is pretty shitty.
Yeah, that's especially. I mean that's especially bad because it's not like Mixer was a bad website. Like there wasn't tons of controversy coming from Mixer. It's just another one of Microsoft's platforms, and I hate that people were cheering that it fell. It's not like they were bad. It just wasn't popular and wasn't profitable. And like you said, the people who lose, you have to think about the streamers, but also the people who worked for Microsoft specifically on Mixer. I mean, that's a lot of people that will lose their job in the middle of what's going on. That's a terrible thing. in the middle of a global pandemic, and who knows how many of the streamers. I mean, yeah, they can come to Twitch, and there's a ton more viewership here, especially since I'm assuming Mixer's viewership is going to come here as well. But who knows how many of those streamers are just never going to recover their viewers?
Yeah.
You know, and that sucks.
Yeah, I'm currently on the front page here, and it's mostly just people like being online and having like a huge banner saying that follow me on twitch.tv/whatever, but not a single one that would announce that they would continue streaming in Facebook gaming.
See, that's interesting for me, because they have like, they did announce for partners that they can instantly get partner status with Facebook if they jump over with like a similar kind of deal. And obviously I don't know
That
what
would
kind
make
of deals
sense.
that. Yeah, I mean, obviously it's odd because I went to Mixer myself, and yeah, it's like twitch.tv for a lot of these. And that's
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm looking, and there's like, out of like 8 of these partner streamers, 2 of them have changed theirs to fb.gg, to Facebook gaming, and then like the others are all Twitch.
yeah, it seems like it's kind of seems like people don't have faith in the Facebook kind of parts of this thing. Even if they get like
Facebook.
more hours watched on Facebook.
I will say props to Mixer, and I guess by extension Microsoft, for allowing them to advertise their Twitch, because they could just as easily shut that shit down for promoting a direct competitor. So that's actually pretty awesome that they're not doing that. Like they could be, you know, they're legally within their bounds to be a douchebag, and you couldn't really knock them for it. But they're letting people have a choice, and I think that's pretty awesome of them.
Would it be considered at this point that they're a competitor if they're already decided to shut doors, though? And I understand what you mean, though. I understand what you mean.
Yeah, with them folding into Facebook, though, it's still a competitor. Like, just because it's not Mixer, Microsoft now has money in Facebook.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's not a competitor to Mixer, but it is still a competitor to Microsoft in the long run.
That's true.
So
that's true.
it is, like I said, props to Microsoft and Mixer for allowing people to advertise their Twitch.
Yeah, there was a very like quick succession of different things that happened before Mixer announced that they're shutting down. I think like the day before, there was this ex-Mixer employee that posted like a very lengthy post about how there's racism within the Mixer, the company version of Mixer. And I think the same morning or the same day when they put the shutdown tweet out, hours earlier they put out another tweet where they reaffirmed that Mixer is battling racism and they don't condone any of the racism and whatever. So it was like a really weird like kind of timeline of things. Obviously that ex-Mixer employee had nothing to do with why the site shuts down, but it was it kind of felt like the Mixer employees themselves did not even know that Mixer is shutting down. Because why would you hours earlier put out not a political tweet, but more of a social tweet where you're like, yeah, we're not for racism.
Yeah.
Because whatever that tweet was earlier that day, it gets like trumped immediately when they put out the notice that they're going to shut down the site. But I want to believe that the at least the employees knew that they're going to shut this site down. It would be pretty horrible.
I wonder if they're going to move to Facebook gaming.
Some of them probably are. But I'm with Joe on that one, that it's horrible for people to be in a situation where they can lose their job during a global pandemic. I hope that the employees get to get new jobs swiftly and continue to be in a situation where they don't have to declare bankruptcy for themselves.
thankfully, and I'm seeing a little bit better since my company got bought out by a much larger cable company. So I'm kind of getting an eye into how larger corporations work whenever they shut down projects like that. There's always a new project. So hopefully a lot of these Mixer people are not getting fired and they're just shifting on to whatever Microsoft is wanting to do next. That's my hope. So we'll see.
Yeah, Microsoft is certainly a very, very huge company. Definitely have probably a lot of secret stuff in development that nobody knows about.
Yeah.
Most likely.
Cloud gaming, perhaps.
Could be.
I mean,
they already tested the streaming product, technically.
Yeah, I think they're pushing. I think it's called Project xCloud. And at least like the Xbox side they're pushing it pretty hard, and I believe that they want it to be in the forefront on the next generation. And the people who have tried it, like they say that it's one of the better like streaming, like gaming devices out there right now.
What about you think that they could all work on like a new streaming, like think of like a new Mixer, Facebook gaming, Twitch thing, but the draw to it, negative latency.
The game plays itself.
Yeah,
plays itself. Your viewers are there before they're there.
Do they have a like a built-in streaming thing on the Xbox like the PlayStation does? Okay. I can see them maybe.
That was what a lot of Mixer streamers are, is Xbox players.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
Yeah, like I would say probably the majority of them.
Maybe some of the Mixer people will just kind of shift into developing that alongside Facebook gaming, hopefully.
Yeah, I mean I can totally see that they're just gonna expand that. Like with the new console, they probably gonna have integrations where you could just push a button, it connects you to Twitch or Facebook or YouTube or whatever. I think the accessibility is gonna be a huge thing where you just go live wherever you want to go live. But yeah, unfortunately for Mixer, even though I didn't stream on Mixer myself, and even though as a site I prefer Twitch, those who were on Mixer longer, a lot of them said that they were really happy with Mixer as a service, and I believe those people. I mean, why wouldn't I? So unfortunate that they shut the site down. I want to believe that we need more streaming services to create competition. Unfortunately, Twitch is so fucking massive that it's probably difficult for anyone to really crack into that market. And I mean,
especially
we're not really helping that situation either.
Yeah. I mean, especially considering that the only company bigger than Microsoft that could like support a streaming platform is Amazon. So, I mean, really, there's only one other guy that could possibly be in that ring, and that's where they are.
So far, they've done pretty well with making video games. So,
yeah, let's pretend that.
Yeah. Amazon's next game is set to release like in August. It's that MMO, and even the people who play MMOs, they have like a lot of questions, and apparently there seems to not be a whole lot of answers. And even like big streamers, they said that it's gonna be #1 on the site for 2 weeks when Amazon pays people to play it, and then it's gonna disappear.
What was their other game called? I don't even remember. I'm like the only one that played it, and I don't even remember the name.
Crucible. Did you even play it?
Crucible.
Yeah, played it. Probably played it for like 2 hours.
Yeah, I saw that. It was a very unfinished game. But yeah, RIP Mixer. Unfortunate, but what are you gonna do?
I welcome you all to Twitch.
I
Yeah,
don't think
man.
anyone from Mixer is watching us. Well, except for Trevor.
Well, yeah, it's Trevor.
Yeah, welcome back, Trevor.
I was-
It's like you
I
never,
never left
left.
Twitch. I was
I
never on
never
it.
left.
Welcome home. All right. Shall we jump into the last thing?
Hell yeah.
This is the moment where I'm gonna talk about The Last of Us 2. Anyone who does not want to listen to that, this is the moment where you could take your leave. I will keep this spoiler free, but there's obviously some things I need to say.
While you're talking, I'll actually be right back. Don't wait on me.
Yeah, go.
Everyone is leaving, and now we're in different places. Where everyone is on a different place now on the stream. I don't know why it changed. Why Discord did that.
I guess because he turned his camera off. I guess.
Yeah, but I don't know why it does that. That's Trevor is North is Joe, and I am Trevor.
Works out.
Yeah. That's
What happens if I turn my camera off?
Don't fucking do it.
Okay, I'm back.
Hmm.
You fucked everything up.
Now we're back in our original places.
There
I
we
don't
go.
know why, but when you turn your cam off, it switched everyone's camera. It was really weird. I don't know why it does that. The Last of Us Part 2 has been now out for almost a week. My God. I don't even know how to begin to unpack this one. I honestly, the more time I spend thinking about the game itself, the more I realize that this may very well be my game of the year. And the more I spend time thinking about the game, the more I'm itching towards it being one of the greatest games I've ever played. But it has massive asterisks to that.
So before you get into the asterisks, was it better than Final Fantasy VII?
Yes.
Was it better than Sekiro?
Yes. Before I really dive into the game itself, I want to talk about my little experience when I bought the game. You guys know how much I despise pre-ordering, and I don't support that.
Rumors.
I've heard, yeah, some rumors circling. So the situation right now is that I'm work from home, and the game came out last week's Friday. Now I don't know how games are released on the PlayStation, but I know how games are released on Steam. Now on Steam, usually, not every game, but usually, if a game comes out on Friday, it means that it comes out on Friday at 8 p.m. my time. It's 6 p.m. for Britain, and then 2 hours from that, it's 8 for me. I assumed that something similar happens with PlayStation. Midnight releases are not really a thing on PC, so I assume that they're really not a thing on PlayStation either. So I was agonizing because I have 2 Ethernet cables. One for this thing, and one for my work laptop. And on Thursday evening I worked, and I got off 12:30 a.m. on Friday side. So I confined with North, and I expressed my agony that I might have to pre-order the game. Because I don't want to buy it on Friday night, like the day on after Friday's evening, because it takes time to download it. I want to jump into it immediately. I want to preload the game. So I stopped. My shift ended on Thursday night, and I jumped on PlayStation. And at that moment, Friday was around 30 minutes old. And I bought the game, and I didn't really look anything because I was in shame about pre-ordering the game. And then it starts loading. And then I got pissed because it says that it's going to download 20 gigabytes of a 97 gigabyte game. And I took a picture and sent to North. Is this what a preload is? It can't be like a preload. Like, it can't fucking be. It leaves a huge chunk for tomorrow. But then it said it's ready. And then I'm, what? And then I press X. And then the game boots up. And then it was the entire game. And I never ended up pre-ordering anything. So I'm still in the clear. It was a midnight release. And I don't know if PlayStation does that normally. But I assume...
No.
Like, I assume, like, if they do, or, because Naughty Dog is one of their first-party developers, so I'm, like, half assuming that if they normally don't do it, they do it for the first-party games, like Last of Us. So I didn't break my unreasonable ethic codes this time, I guess. But then I started playing the game. And... the game subverts your expectations heavily. I'm not gonna talk about the things that happen because I'm gonna keep this spoiler free. It's very difficult to talk about the game without giving any context to anything. But in some ways, I understand the hate the game gets. It has a very low score on Metacritic. A lot of people are very, very angry because of the supposed like SJW agendas that they're pushing in everyone's face, and supposedly they are destroying the legacy of the first game, and supposedly a lot of people don't agree with the story. That's what it really boils down to. And this is gonna sound obnoxious and really condescending. I think the vast majority of those people who really, really hate this game don't understand the story, or they have not played the game. But in the second game, you play as Ellie. Ellie was one of the main characters from the first game. In the first game, you play as Joel. In the first game, really what it boils down to is the relationship between Joel and Ellie, and the development of those two characters. I'm not gonna really talk about much about the first game either, because I know Joe hasn't played it. And I really wish Joe would play it.
I don't. It's not a game I'm interested in playing. If you want to spoil the first one.
Madman.
It's just, I don't like those type. I don't like super heavy story driven games. I enjoy gameplay.
And that's fun. The gameplay sucks in the first game, and the gameplay sucks in the second game.
All right, spoil away.
The first game, really what it boils down to is, like I said, the relationship between Joel and Ellie. And by the end of the first game, Joel makes a decision that is one of the most selfish things he could ever do. And he dooms mankind, essentially. And in the second game, those demons come to hunt Joel in a specific way. There is a tragic event that happens in the second game that really sets the story in motion, in which Ellie goes on a massive revenge quest. I really want. I talked for about an hour yesterday in Joe's Discord after everyone left, aside from Skittles and Rosa, and I asked both of them if they mind if I spoiled the second game, and both said fucking go for it. I unpacked the story, and it was really cathartic for me. The story is really heavy, and it will rub people the wrong way, because it is not a. There's no winners in this game. There's only losers. The world is bleak, it's cruel, and it's super depressing. And literally nobody wins. And that is the point. And I think that's one of the major criticisms people have towards this game, because they don't want to play a game like that. It is too depressing. Some review outlets said that the game is too brutal, for instance. And I get what they mean. The game is brutal. You mow down a shitload of people in graphic ways. You stick a knife in their throat and it spurts blood like shit. It just goes. I don't think it's possible even to do that in real life, but they decided to do it. The game deliberately makes you feel like shit. I think that they tried to do that with the first game, because of what Joel did at the ending. But I think they failed because a lot of people look at Joel and they see a protagonist when he's really the biggest piece of shit in the first game. And I think the response for the second game was to have everyone be a massive asshole. Which is why I don't think that there's any winners in this game. It's one of those games that I would say. I mean, obviously, if there's anyone like Joe who doesn't like those types of story-driven heavy games, then this is not the game for you then. But for anyone else who likes that sort of Naughty Dog kind of way to tell a narrative where it is much like a linear storytelling game, then I'd say this is a very much a game that I recommend playing. The gameplay parts of the game are more easily to talk about. The gameplay is not overly bad, it's not great. It's just okay. You move around the world, you scavenge and loot stuff, and with that stuff that you loot, you craft some items that you can use, Molotovs or bombs or medkits or whatnot. And you scavenge ammo and find weapons. You find a lot of notes left around in the world that are from either the pre-outbreak or during the outbreak or after the outbreak. And you fight humans, and you fight essentially what are zombies. They are cordyceps, I think they're called, which is based on a real parasite that I think is also called cordyceps. The real parasite in the real world, what they do is they infect ants, I think, or other smaller critters and bugs, and they zombify the bugs. And then they make the bug walk up leaves or hay or whatever, so they get eaten by bigger cows and stuff. And then that's the circle of the parasite's life. The cordyceps in the game are humans that have been infected with the infection, and they come in a variety of different versions, I guess. Recently,
sizes.
Well, yeah, I mean, sizes too. The recently infected are more human-like, and they can see you and they can run. And then the classic clickers are the ones that are blind, and they're called clickers because they click. They use like echolocation. And then there's a couple of other ones that I don't remember if they were in the first game or not.
The bloaters were in the first one.
Oh, they return in the second one. There's a new type of clicker that I was absolutely terrified of because they were smart. And it was one of the creepiest moments in the game for me. When I know that there's enemies around and they just don't attack. The game is not really a horror game. I think a lot of people associate Last of Us with like survival horror. It has definitely like creepy parts. Both in the first and second game. And I mean, I'm a huge pussy. So I did encounter some places where I was legitimately regretting not streaming the game so I could have somebody to talk to. Instead, I whispered to myself and tried to soothe myself. And in one moment, in one section of the game, I put music on so that I wouldn't freak the fuck out. I'd be interested in doing like a full spoiler discussion of Last of Us 2 at some point, but I'll probably have to do it like on my own streams. Obviously, I wouldn't do it like in the next coming weeks, probably not, because there's still a lot of people who want to play the game. To anybody who hates the game, I'll just say this. Valid criticism is always valid. But hating the game for allegedly pushing social justice warrior narratives down your throat is ridiculous. Because there are none. Hating the game because certain events happen in the game can be valid, but there's also something to be said about understanding the context of those situations. A lot of people will end up just ultimately not liking this game because of the events that happen. And I understand. But I would say that with the right mindset, you understand what the developers were trying to do. And I think with understanding what they're trying to do also helps you accept what they were trying to do. I might not agree with every choice that they made, but I see what they were trying to do. A lot of people say that the story is bad. And I can't unpack the story. I think the story is very compelling. But it is certainly a story that just a lot of people won't accept. And I understand why.
So let me ask you this. So I have two questions, and I'll ask the first one because it'll be a shorter answer. You say it subverts expectations. Does it make sense how it subverts expectations, or is it like the final season of Game of Thrones where they shocked us just because they could?
I think it's a little bit of both.
Okay.
Like the
second.
I'll expand a little bit. Like the shocking part, I believe it's deliberately made because there's a lot of shocking moments just for shock value. But like the other side is that they deliberately are making the game they made the game. I'll emphasize just the word us in the name of Last of Us. It is us, plural, not Last of Ellie. It's Last of Us.
Well, I always assumed the us referred to the human race in Last of Us. Is that not actually what it is?
It is. It is.
Okay.
It is. It is played more. That point is played way more in the second game than the first game.
I gotcha. So my second question, is it possible that and I understand that some games are brutal and some games are sad, and some of them are more surface value sad. Like if you actually know the story behind Dark Souls, everything in Dark Souls is actually super depressing. It is a very depressing game. There are no winners in Dark Souls. There's only losers. So it is super depressing. But in that world, it makes sense because of the lore that they've set up. Is it possible that like the sadness and brutality in Last of Us 2 like doesn't really have an explanation? Like is the world bitter just because it can be bitter, or does everybody hate everybody like with a decent reason? You know, like is just everyone hateful just because they can be, or you know, is the sadness actually justified? Is actually, I guess, what I'm getting at. Or is it just like, oh, they killed her just because they could? Like there's no really story or anything that leads up to someone dying. It just happens because they want you to be sad. Is it possible that they are just trying to force you into sadness without actually like setting up that plot?
I think that's a very interesting question, because ultimately the premise of even the first game is that the world has fallen to the infection, and like society doesn't exist anymore. Governments don't exist anymore. It's all like not anarchy per se, but
there's like small factions, like small like it's like Walking Dead.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, that's a pretty good like how to explain it. So even like if I just shift to like Walking Dead, why are some communities in The Walking Dead, why are they just like defaultly hostile? And like, does it make sense? Like, why would, let's say you have a community of like 50 people and like 2 dudes roll up to your camp, why would you just shoot them? Why would you not like want to help those people? What drove that community to be like hostile by default? And that's like, there's 2 enemy factions in the second game, and one of them is explored way more than the other, and it makes way more sense. So in like the pre-outbreak, when the outbreak happens, there's a government faction called Fedra. It's some sort of like acronym for something. And Fedra is also like explored a little bit in the first game. Fedra doesn't exist in the first game anymore, and definitely doesn't exist in the second game, because how the outbreak was dealt. Essentially, everything collapsed because the government could not deal with that level of infection and that level of like collapse of society. So a lot of people, you can find little notes in the world that detail like what happened during the outbreak, and like how people are angry at Fedra for not providing food and water and shelter and all that, and like security and stuff. So that hate I understand. So the people rise against Fedra and essentially wipe them out. And then this new group emerges from that, which then turns out they're just hostile. And I guess you do it for the game. Like, if no one's hostile towards the player in the game, then you just walk from point A to point B all the time. But I understand, like, if you really like dive into it, you're just walking down the streets of Seattle, where the majority of the game takes place. You're just walking down, and you're completely alone, and some dude just spots you, and instantly you're in combat. Why does that happen?
Yeah, I'll say at least here in America, that makes perfect sense that someone would just combat you, because no, really, just think about this. We were put on lockdown for COVID for 2 weeks. And after 2 weeks, people went into the streets and rioted and were boycotting. They were having to be put in their homes for 2 weeks. So imagine like something just rocking your world, changing everything, and then that's just your life.
Yeah.
Living day to day, not knowing if you're going to live. I can guarantee you people will just be naturally combative. Just on site, just see, oh, we're gonna go kill that guy because we don't know him.
And yeah,
And I guess it just depends on like how long. I don't know how long like the apocalypse, how long ago it happened in Last of Us. Because I just feel like if you're working in a story based game where gameplay isn't a focus, you should have answers to those questions.
I
Like,
believe
even
it's
if-
like 20 years or
20 years?
approximately. Approximately.
Yeah.
So in 20 years, would people still have that level of animosity towards strangers? That's kind of the things that you have to consider in a heavily story based game where the gameplay isn't, like I said, isn't really the focus of the game. I feel like those questions should have answers, and that might be why people didn't like it, because some stuff, in the moment made sense, but whenever you think about it, it may not have. Like if you're playing Borderlands, psychos are psychos because they're psycho. Why not? They're just insane. They attack you because they're psychos. But in something like Last of Us 2, where you're essentially watching that story unfold in front of you, there's probably should be a reason that the normal guy across the street wouldn't want to try to work with you to benefit himself and would just instantly attack you.
It can be explained because there's two hostile factions in Seattle, and they happen to be at war with each other. So when you walk around Seattle as Ellie, whichever faction sees you, they just assume you're the enemy faction.
Sure. Yeah, and I don't mean like that example in particular. I just mean that might be why people don't like it. If there's a lot of things that just happen just because the developers felt like it needed to happen, and there's not really like a story set up for it to happen, then I could see people getting mad at that.
And like I can't explain it.
If you think about, I'm gonna, because I still don't like spoilers, and I'm gonna talk about the ending in Game of Thrones. If you think about who killed who at the end of Game of Thrones, yeah, it's cool that it happened, but does it really make sense? Like, what setup happened in Game of Thrones to lead up to that point? Nothing did. So there might be things in Last of Us 2 that make people that kind of angry, that things just happen, and in the moment they seem cool, but what was the build up to that payoff? I don't know. I haven't played either of the Last of Us. I'm just here. I'm just here so I don't get fined.
So there is build up for the major like plot point in the game, but a lot of people don't agree with the motivation behind that like plot point, and I think that is valid criticism. Like the Ellie's revenge quest is something that they have criticized, that it doesn't make sense for Ellie's character to do it, and especially like if you play the game, you understand her reasoning even less than somebody who just says that it doesn't make sense. Because there's people who compare Ellie from the second game to the first game, and Ellie in the first game and second game, they're two different people. There's 4 years is the gap between the first and the second game, and in that 4 years, Ellie has grown up from a rebellious teenager to a young, responsible adult. But the choices she makes during the game, and I agree with those criticisms to an extent, they really don't make sense because of certain flashbacks that happen in the game with Ellie. But at the end of it, I can relate with Ellie. I truly can. I believe I can.
So basically, the gameplay was mediocre-ish. The story is good, but it has, I don't know, gaps. Not necessarily gaps, but no reason.
There's reasons.
Well,
There's reason to the decisions, but it really
Are they good?
Yes. It really comes down to what are you willing to accept? What are you willing to eat up? And I am willing to eat up a lot.
and you say it's the game of the year.
So
Yes.
yeah, it sounds like it's game of the year because you have lower standards than other people.
Probably.
Or just because the
Okay.
game, like Tom really likes a game that like throws something at you that you don't expect. And I feel like Last of Us really did that.
Yeah, I've said many times that like I like to be surprised, and if I can't predict what's gonna happen, that's usually a positive for me. And I know that what I've been talking about here might sound as negatives. My personal feelings towards the game are very because I try to address the major criticisms in a neutral way. My personal feelings go way deeper. By the end of the game, I was fully on board. I was fully committed on the same wavelength as probably Neil Druckmann was when he wrote the story for this thing. I completely sat in my chair and I was ready to accept whatever was going to happen right at the end of the game. The story leading up to it, the build up, the things that happen, the reasons, the motivations, everything, it made there's a moment at the end of it where it all comes together and it just clicks. And I think that click for the people who played the game, it probably didn't click as hard as it clicked for me. I think this game is damn fucking good.
Yeah, maybe you just need to be woke to actually enjoy Last of Us 2.
Sounds like Tom's really woke over here.
Yeah, really woke over here. Yeah. People took issue with the game. The game has one gay character, the game has one bisexual character, and the game has one trans character, and the game has one hetero female character that is built very muscular and has very masculine features. And that's when the discussion goes to, is this forced diversity, or are they trying to pander to everybody and or whatever. I'm so over that.
I feel like if you have one of each, that feels pretty pandery.
And I can understand that. I can completely understand that. But none of, like, so Ellie is gay. That was established long ago. Her sexuality is not the defining feature of her personality. I was arguing with a dude who said to me on Discord that the game does throw social justice warrior agendas in your face, and I said it doesn't. And then I said to him, please explain your positioning on this so that I would understand. And he refused to tell me why he thinks that. So instead I did the other way around, because he refused to explain himself. So I said that I've played the game, I can explain any fucking situation in the game. So ask me anything, and I will explain to you how it does not throw SJW agendas on your face. And by the end of it, when I explained every single character, their personalities, their choices that they make, everything, there's very little there that is throwing in your face, yo, this character's gay, yo, this character's bi, yo, this character's trans. Very little of that in the end of it.
How do you know, like, a character's trans in the game? Like, is the person like, hey, I'm trans? Or do you just assume they are?
Well, I mean, I'll boil down it to, yo, I'm trans.
Okay.
It is explained, though. There's a reasonable explanation given behind that character.
I don't understand the hate for the masculine female character. That's just why. I don't understand.
I mean, she's not a hot girl that you want to fuck.
You don't know that. I haven't seen her yet.
Is the masculine female character supposed to be trans as well, or she's just a buff woman?
She's a buff chick because she's a warrior.
Okay.
Cool. Yeah, I would feel like it was less pandery if it wasn't like legitimately just one of each. Like if we didn't just because that feels like a checklist, you know?
Yeah.
Like, oh, got a gay here, got a bi here. It's like that almost feels demeaning to that community. But I mean, if it's their game, if that's how they want to play it, then they absolutely can.
It's like like a McDonald's promotion now. Like now they can't just be like, here's a white couple or a black couple, or they gotta be like, no, it's a white guy and a black woman, and they adopted some Chinese kids, and they have some Indian friends that are in there with them eating McDonald's. Like they have to be like, we have to get everyone in.
Yeah. I mean, absolutely incorporate as much LGBTQ stuff into games as they feel comfortable doing. I think that like the more that stuff is normalized, the more acceptable it'll be in society.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean we need a checklist. Have a few trans characters. Why not have that trans person and their sister in the game? I know several people that are siblings and are trans. Why not have a few gay characters? You don't have to have one of each. Mix it up a little. You don't have to have a gay person in your game just because you also have a bi person in your game. You don't have to go down a checklist. And it just feels demeaning to that entire community that's kind of how they treated it.
I don't like the fact that they put out like their sexuality as a personality.
But they don't.
They don't?
No. There's none
I think
of
it's hard for him to explain without doing spoilers and stuff.
Yeah.
Because it sounded like you did earlier say that that's exactly what they did.
Well, maybe people think that, because they represent this sexuality, it's probably their personality, and that's why they get pissed. I don't know.
I'll rephrase. Maybe I'll just misspoke. None of the character's sexuality is the defining feature of their personality. And
then
only
it's
the
just normal characters.
And that's how I view every single one of them.
Yeah.
The only character that is explained is the trans character. And truthfully, before it was even explained, I didn't realize. I thought it was just a dude. Or a boy, rather. So, and I understand that character has received some flack because that is the one that feels most forced, because they do go the extra mile to explain why this character is trans. With Ellie, they don't do it. With Ellie's love interest, they don't do it. They just are what they are. Yeah, there's a lot of things I just can't clarify.
Yep.
The Last of Us
either
2
way,
is a good game.
Yeah, because I know you were looking forward to it, so I'm glad you did end up liking it so much. That's awesome.
Yeah, I gotta play it now.
Yeah, I mean, do it. I mean, I want to find a level-headed person who doesn't like the game. I want to understand that side, because I am either too stupid or too blind to not understand it. Yeah, I need to unwoke myself. I've yet to have an intelligent discussion about the game with somebody who doesn't like it, because it all boils down to the story sucks. Why? Why does the story suck? Well, it just fucking sucks. They fucking destroyed the first game's legacy. Why? Give me some examples. What happens in the game that you think why the game sucks? Why the story sucks?
What is the first game's legacy?
I don't even fucking know what that means. I literally don't know.
I mean, I've played the first one probably 3 times all the way through. And if you ask right now, what legacy did that game leave behind? I couldn't answer that because I don't even.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I have no idea. I guess like there's so many different sects of people and why they hate the game. There's the group of people who think that they're gonna play a game with Joel and Ellie and further develop their relationship. You're not gonna get that. It doesn't exist in the game. There's people who watch the trailers, and there's some trailers that are edited in a way that it seems like they misrepresent the trailers. Joe showed me one of those things, and I watched it, and it's like, oh yes, that's clever editing, but it gives you the wrong impression. But ultimately, you getting a wrong impression from a trailer that the bit is like 2 seconds long, who gives a shit? That 2-second bit is a drop in a bucket in a 40-hour game. 30-hour game, sorry. And like I haven't talked even about half of the game because I'm not gonna spoil because the second half is so much I can't say anything about it.
I think that the complaint about the trailer differences is probably the dumbest thing ever. Like, I'm sorry that you thought you got a spoiler and it turns out you didn't.
The dumbest complaint is people complaining that Ellie is gay because it was established that she was gay 8 years ago or whatever, whenever the first game came out.
Yeah, somehow people feel that this is lesbian kills white men trope. And it's literally not. None of that happens. You kill a bunch of white people, yes, but you also kill a bunch of other people.
Is what it is.
No, but it is the way it's presented gives the wrong impression what it is.
Yeah.
You can remove the lesbian part, and it's still nothing would change. Literally nothing in the story would change. But yeah, Trevor, please play the game so I can have an intelligent discussion about the game.
You assume I'm not gonna like it.
I'm assuming I'm in the minority here.
Oh, yeah. I guess I'll have to
Statistically,
dust off the old PS4.
I don't know. Like I think as more time goes on, probably where a lot of people will end up landing is the game's okay. It's not as great as the first one, and it's not super bad. It's just okay. But currently in my head, I rate it pretty high. Pretty high.
Hey, yeah, Piddly wants to know when we're getting that Madden stream for that game you bought.
Well, the new Madden's coming out for the PS5, so.
Oh yeah, we might as well wait. We
Yeah,
don't
might
want
as
to.
well
We
wait
don't
for
want to
that.
play the old stuff.
Yeah. I need it needs to look as good as possible. It is Madden.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Thanks for watching. We went a little bit overboard.
It's alright. We had a lot of stuff. Lots and lots.
Next podcast in 2 weeks. I will. Oh, this is announcement for you guys too. I will not be on the next podcast.
What?
I am working. So I don't know. Deal with it.
Sounds good.
Sounds good. Yeah. Yeah. Honestly, I don't know. I'll help you guys or whatever. But I have a night shift, so I cannot be on that episode. But this episode will be up on YouTube shortly. Not today, but tomorrow. Yeah, I don't know. Joe, when are you gonna stream?
Tomorrow.
Hey, I thought about streaming tomorrow too.
Yeah, I'll be streaming tomorrow night.
Yeah, if I stream, I'll stream way earlier than Joe. I thought about doing Counter-Strike. What are you gonna do?
I'll probably try out that new Hades update.
Oh yeah, oh, nice.
I was gonna play it last night, and then we had a fiber cut that I had to deal with. So
Yeah. When are you gonna Trevor stream?
I don't know.
Okay. When are you not gonna stream?
I don't know.
right after
Okay.
Trevor.
Yeah,
Right
right,
after Trevor.
right after Trevor. Yeah. I will never ever watch this many fucking gaming shows. Fuck that noise. I'll only watch
Streaming
the.
on Twitch, by the way, right now. Or not right now, but
Yeah, Trevor's back.
know, starting now, like I've always been streaming on Twitch. So
Yeah, it's twitch.tv/our names.
Yep, pretty much.
See you guys next time. Or
Yeah, thanks for watching.
Thanks for
you don't see
watching.
Tom, but you will see 3 of us, hopefully.
The handsome
in.
ones.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah. Bye.